So I'm Jenny Rader Purvis, youngest of three of Paul and Kay Rader, and was born at Severance Hospital in 1964 and lived in Korea for most of my life until I graduated in 1983 from Seoul Foreign School, and then returned again. I met my husband my senior year in high school, and he was a Southern Baptist journeyman, Ray Purvis, and we married about 3 years later, and we've been married 32 years. And he was there for 2 years, and then we returned and worked at Seoul Foreign School as teachers for 5 years, 91 to 96. So yeah, I would love for so many people. We thought of the Neils, all the Cook brothers. David, I saw Debbie Ross and was thinking about David Ross and Becky Ross, and man, we could just go on for days with all the missionary friends and family that I certainly played with and grew up with, and all the missionaries that were formative in my spiritual life and in my personal life. They have no idea the impact they had on us as missionary kids, not just on the Korean people, obviously, phenomenal and profound, but in our lives, I think that's what was the takeaway for me from this reunion, was the stories that Mrs. Ross read to us when I was a little girl, spending the night at their house, about Catherine Coleman and the miracles, and Debbie Patton's mom, who was Sunday school superintendent for years at Union Church, and I remember her teaching us about the Bible on flannel board, and we still know those Bible stories, and just all the parents, the Rices and the role model. When I see Sue Rice, I think justice. That word comes to mind, and the role model that she was in my life as a strong woman who was really doing so much social work and so much good, and just like all the missionaries. So I'm just rambling right now, but yeah, that's the takeaway, is just how much they meant to me and how I grew. Yeah. My mom told a funny story that I thought was said a lot in terms of Liz Rice's book and our cultural identity. I was born at Severance Hospital, as I said, and when she brought me home from the hospital, December, it was like Christmas Eve, I think, when she brought me home, practically. Freezing cold, and she had me all wrapped up in the blankets, and all the Korean kids in the alley, because we didn't live on a compound. We lived right in with our Korean neighbors. And all the Korean kids came around, and they were so excited because they'd been waiting for the baby to come back, right? And my mom pulled back the blanket, and they looked in, and they went, "Oh, she's American. She's a Miguk Saram." They were like so disappointed. They thought I was going to be Korean because I came from a Korean hospital. And I thought, wow, that was the beginning of trying to reconcile. But they got used to us, and I spoke Korean first before I spoke English, and played with all of them. And actually I'm still in touch with some of those kids. So yeah, it's a wonderful, wonderful memory.